In 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic swept across the globe, making its mark as it disrupted operations and supply chains. In the workforce, it issued an imperative need for freelancers and independent contractors, as several issues developed across the landscape.
With COVID, it was the perfect storm. Suddenly, almost overnight, globally, everybody was working remotely. The budget cuts that were caused by the panic caused a lot of layoffs, millions of layoffs. But the most important thing that we saw from companies was they still needed to be nimble. They still needed to get work done. So how do you do that when your staff has been reduced drastically? You call on some skilled independent contractors. So freelancers could show up at a moment's notice, provide the support quickly, and then leave. They work for multiple clients. They're not worried about layoffs. So they're relaxed, they're very talented, and they can support almost any type of company that's out there.
Projections show that leveraging and relying on the skills of contractors will only continue to increase, making it more important than ever to improve the way companies work with external talent.
The biggest issue when dealing with managing external contractors and freelancers is you don't know if they're available or not. Companies need to ensure that they're booked in, that they have the right skill sets in place before a project can start. That is really the biggest issue. Availability, right skill sets, right time, an understanding of real-time data that companies just don't have right now.
With the move and the experience we've had recently with COVID, it has actually forced us to now have a single source of truth. Now, with a single source of truth, what it means is asking us to centralize everything we do, one tool, one collaboration center for everybody to get together and converse, which means the infrastructure needed to support that goes beyond just us having an office. It needs technology to support that for us to be able to enable a good collaborative environment.
Now, improvements in data and software are helping organizations optimize workforce performance.
36% of Americans now identify themselves as independent workers, and about 43% of companies out there, they plan on hiring freelancers. That has created the demand for better collaboration, better ways to track and manage the employees, which in this case, the freelancers. What that's going to do is actually going to bring in more capabilities for employees to not rely on a full-time job, but to get into the freelance space. So the death of job security, that's when it comes in. And that also is going to force the technology to enable better communication. In this case, having a more streamlined way of making sure you're in touch with your manager, what you're doing, where you are, the progress, and making sure that what's being delivered is being done on time, which is where the tools are going to be very helpful for us. Data insights are the new tool for success. That is going to enable us to be successful looking at data historically, to identify how we are working, how we can plan for our workforce, and also to bring some predictive analysis or even go as far as sentiment analysis with our employees on how we can work with them and enable the freelancers to stay with us longer.
By reimagining how independent contractors and their employers can work together, companies are able to stay ahead of the curve and meet evolving market demands with the right talent at the right time.
We had independent contractors that we were working with on an ongoing basis, and we knew that that relationship was important to the future of our company, and it was only going to grow. The problem with that was it was chaos. We couldn't keep track of our contractors. We didn't know when they were available for work. We didn't know if they had too much on their plates. So what was happening is our business unit leaders were spending a lot of man hours chasing down people that weren't available, had too much on their plate. So we weren't looking for a portal or a third-party software to be able to manage payroll or anything like that. What we wanted to do was manage the worker, understand their workload, understand their education level, understand what they were bringing to the table in terms of experience. So as such, we're able to better control who we have on the team at what point. We need to address the ebbs and flows of our business so we can onboard quickly and scale up quickly. And as such, when things start to ramp down, we're able to assign those independent contracts to another project that is just ramping up. So they might be able to work on 3 or 4 different projects with a different business unit leader at the same time.
With visibility across availability, hiring, onboarding, project management, time tracking, and compliance data, freelancers and business owners are given the flexibility they need to flourish.
I think the advantage today is if you create a different model and stay ahead of it, then you are not forced to make business decisions that you're not ready for or you don't necessarily subscribe to. From a business perspective, we can hire on different project managers in different time zones and keep the project running. So it's really exciting that the opportunities it's presented and the levels of experience and exposure to different things in the world have only made us better.
Businesses can't make smart decisions if they don't have data. And where data comes from is the managers who are actually doing the work and, of course, budgeting information. So in order to actually work efficiently, operations needs to work with the hiring managers as a cohesive, agile team, and more importantly, they need to incorporate the contractors and the external workforce in a way that is more collaborative.
In addition, hiring managers are no longer faced with the frustration of finding quality talent, removing undue pressure on internal teams.
Talent retention is very important, and performance management is also as important as talent retention. Understanding what your employees can and cannot do, including your freelancers and independent contractors, is important through data. Because what you do is you look at what historically has been done, how other employees or project managers can leave reviews and how great you are and rate you. That's going to help us understand how great of a performer you are, and we can actually have you recommended employers, let alone we can actually be able to rehire you because you were a great employee before. In the future, we foresee more and more acceptance for working from home, more and more engagement and hiring of freelancers and independent contractors, and more value delivery from different time zones, which is the globalization of the workforce.